Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Humor in the C Suite. My guest this week is Brittany Kruezner. She started the Speaker Exchange Agency with a background in sales and a love for the speaking industry. She was given a taste of the speaking industry while interning at college at a speakers bureau. Upon graduation from college, she began a successful career selling radio space and developing radio campaigns for CBS Radio in Kansas City. However, after a few years, the excitement of the speaking industry drew her back in. And after working at a speakers bureau for several years and becoming their top sales executive, she took a break to spend time with her newborn baby, Madison. The love she has for the industry struck again, and after only a few short months' break, Brittany combined her forces with her past colleague and friend, Julie Holmesy, to create the Speaker Exchange Agency. With a passion for the speakers in this industry, she looks forward to growing the SEA and connecting her clients with the amazing speakers. Being able to finally know what she wants to do or be when she grows up is truly a blessing. And she feels honored to work with such an amazing team of people every day. She lives in Kansas City with her husband, Michael, daughter, Madison, son, Hudson, and two Irish mini golden doodles, Walter and Lucy. Life is extremely busy, and she wouldn't want it any other way. We are lucky to have her here today. So please welcome Brittany Kruezner. I'm so happy and so grateful that you're here today to Humor in the C-Suite. Okay, so first of all, we always start off the show by me asking my guest, do you have a favorite joke?
Okay, so I have two I want to talk about because
Yay.
one's timely and one has a story. So the first joke I heard recently, obviously we just had the solar eclipse, was a son asked his father, "Dad, can you tell me about a solar eclipse? What does it do?" And he said, "No, son." Such a dad joke, right? Like it
Such
takes a
dad
minute and then
joke.
you
You're
like laugh.
yeah,
I thought that was
it's so
so
good.
funny. I was so great. It's clean. Um, and then the other one that always cracks me up is when I was in college, there's always that joke, a horse walks into a bar, the bartender says, "Why the long face?" I never got it. Like I never understood it. And then one night, like it just clicked. And I think I laughed for 5 minutes. Like I was like, this
I
is the
love that.
dumbest joke,
Yeah.
but I finally got it. So I tell my kids, my daughter's like, "How did you not get it?" I was like, "Girl, I don't know. I just did it. And then I did. And it was funny. Like, I don't know. So stupid. I can always make fun of myself. There
I
you go.
see. That's perfect. And I love the fact that we were talking before this, and you do have two children, and humor in that relationship is so important. And the fact that you can make fun of yourself for not getting a joke after that long a time is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
like you guys. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So I thought we would also just start by telling people, your background. I love the fact that you came across like being in the speaking industry so organically by interning when you were in college,
Yeah. Yep. So I
which was
interned in
amazing.
college. Yeah. I had no idea. Who knows about this industry? It's such a
Yeah.
like underground industry. And so yeah, I interned in college and then I got offered a job in radio sales and I thought that sounded more fun at the time. And then I ended up coming back to the industry. And I think once you're in it, you'll never leave. It's such an amazing industry.
It really is. And have you found like when you started, were there TED Talks and all that?
No. When
No,
I
so
started, I was in a basement and I was filing VHS tapes. And they would take boxes of folders and VHS tapes. And when somebody wanted to hear a speaker, we would like mail it out, like in the mail.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like a whole room dedicated. So yeah, there were no TED Talks. It was, yeah, it was crazy
Yeah,
to think that.
that is amazing because I'm the same. Like I started almost 18 years ago, and Speaker Spotlight was the first agency I was with, but they were in a basement. And they literally said, "Here's your first gig, fake it till you make it."
Oh my
But
gosh.
before that, I was a stand-up comedian. I ended up hosting this event called The Power Within. And that's how, and it was all these incredible speakers like Loretta LaRoche and Joan
Wow.
Versensko. And, it was
Yeah.
like amazing. And I ended up hosting. I thought, oh, I want to be a speaker. But I would never have known there were even speakers before that.
No. No, people
So it's
people reach out to us all the time asking if they could get their speakers fixed in like their cars. We're like the speaker exchange. We're like, no,
that's
wrong
so
industry.
funny.
Yeah. We're like,
I
can you
love
fix
that.
my like V8 something something like speaker? And we're like, no, no, wrong website.
And now you're running your own company with your friend. You
Yes.
started the Speakers Exchange, and are you finding? Well, you went through the entire pandemic, which was super stressful,
That was
and
not fun or humorous at all.
no, no,
There's no humor in
absolutely
that. No, yeah, that was
no.
hard.
And you're leading your team, and are you finding? Do you use humor a lot to lead with them? And do you guys, always deal with a sense of humor with each other anyway?
Yeah, I think so. Julie and I have been business partners for 12 years, and I think we have a lot of what I would call levity. We
Yeah.
try not to take each other too seriously. There's obviously serious topics. I think one, being in a speaking business where you hear a lot of stories about people who have lost children or they've been burned, or I mean, horrible stories and how their mindsets have changed. And then just on top of like getting to be in something that's so inspiring, we really try, and after the pandemic too, like we really just try and be so grateful every day. And I think we lead with grateful hearts, and then with that comes just the levity of it. If you aren't having fun, why are you doing it? Not that every day is fun, but I
Yeah.
think for the most part you really just have to like enjoy it. And that means
Oh,
laughing with each other, at each other, that kind of thing. So
I love that. And we met at an event,
we
and
did.
you were just so funny and so gracious the entire time, and
Oh,
just so approachable, which was, it tends to a character where people want to be around you. And if you're dealing, and we were talking about this before we started recording, you're dealing with not only speakers, but you're dealing with clients, and then you're dealing with everyone who works for you. And do you
yeah.
find there's a different dynamic dealing with all those different sort of aspects of your job?
Yeah, I mean, we are in like the human business, so our products are people, and so I think I always say this job should be really fun. I get to connect with people like you, and I get to call you and be like, "Hey, I have a booking for you," or joke around maybe about a client that's a little bit silly about something or said something. I mean, you get to have that relationship, and I think. It shouldn't always be so serious. I say we aren't doing brain surgery in this industry. We're lucky that we get to have a lot of fun. And same with my clients. I have a lot of clients I've had for 20, 25 years, and they're
Wow.
like friends. And for me, it's
Yeah.
like, what do you do with your friends? You laugh. And there's something to be said about that. The more you laugh with people, I think the more deeper of a relationship you can have with them.
Yeah, and do you do a lot of team building within, just your staff? Like, do you guys have team building days? I know you work remote, but do you get
Yep.
together and
We
yeah.
do. So actually last week everyone came over to my house and we kind of had a work day at my house. We had a little webinar. We had a speaker swing by. We always, do lunch. We've taken the team to Vegas. We've gone to the Pink concert. We've sent Nate Bargatze, the comedian. We took them to that. So, we really try
Wow.
and do that when we can, and see each other when we can. But it is harder. I think I love working remote. I do miss an office for certain things. That camaraderie of just talking over the cubicle or yelling something to each other, in
Yes.
person versus via
Yes.
email. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Even the small details, like what kind of tea are they drinking? You don't get
Yeah.
that remotely.
Yeah.
Just, little
Absolutely.
little things like
Absolutely.
that.
All those little things. And like the inside jokes, I think come out more when you are in an office. Julie used to call her assistant, her name is Trish, but she made up this Russian name for her named Trishka. And like they had this whole like funny like banter back and forth. You know what I mean? So just little
Yeah.
things like that.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. And do you find like have you ever had like humor sort of miss on a client or anything like that where you sort of have to
Of
backstep?
Of course. I mean, I feel like sometimes I think I'm being really funny and they might not be as light as me, in the moment. And you're like, okay,
Right.
they aren't in a joking mood and that's okay. And you
Yeah.
just gotta, I think always just be aware when you use
Yeah,
humor.
no, for sure. Are there any like strategies? Because you do come from the sales sort of point of view when you're dealing with clients and stuff. And I feel like, if it's between two bureaus, the funnier one's gonna get it
Yeah,
almost,
right. Yeah. I mean, I think
Like,
kind of to the client and personalities, right? I mean, I do think if you're a little bit lighter and funnier, but some clients maybe. I mean, I've been like trying to be funny with people before, and you're just like, okay, they're not there, and that's okay. I might be too much of an excited puppy for them today, like I get it. So yeah, I think most of the time it does work though, and I think people just love to laugh, and the endorphins from laughing. I'm sure you have
Yeah.
research behind that. There's got
Oh
to be
my
a
God, I
ton,
have so
right?
much. I have keynotes on it. So yeah, absolutely. And
Exactly.
it's and do you find, are there any like personal benefits you found from using humor?
Sure. I think sometimes when you laugh, like, have you ever scrolled Instagram and I'll just watch reel after reel and I'm like, bring my kids and I'm like, watch this dog video or whatever. And you just
Yes.
feel like you either worked out or ate a cake or like, the endorphins
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
there. Or you went to see
Yeah.
a counselor. I mean, whatever it is, like your brain, I think you always just feel better after you
And
laugh.
because you're working with, like when you're dealing with your staff, the people who work with you, do you use a different sense of humor with Julie, who's sort of your equal, than the other people who maybe are, working for you?
I think it just depends on the day and the person and kind of
Yeah.
their vibe that day. But I mean, Julie and I know we talk probably 50 times a day, and so we know each other so well. But yeah, I mean, with Dia, Lindy, and everyone else on our team, like yeah, we try and be light with them too. But I know sometimes like, hey, they might be taking this a little more seriously, so then I need to kind of tone it down a little bit and just have the conversation. And you just kind of read the room. I think is
Yeah. Well, that's
always
it. It's
what
all about reading the room,
right.
whether it's with clients or people you're working with or anything like that. Do you find that when you're like, when you go to conferences and stuff like that, do you ever feel like there's a difference between people, like, do you get worried about people taking you seriously because you are funny and so bubbly and everything in terms of your
Yeah, I've
professionalism?
had it before, like on the phone, where I like will almost hang up and I can almost hear them giggling. I think it's just because of my energy. I'm like, I guess I'm just so positive and I don't know. They almost laugh, and I'm like, I don't take it personal. I'm like, they're not laughing at me. I think they're just kind of
Yeah,
laughing just because.
of course.
My maiden name is Bubblets, so Brittany Bubblets. When I first started in sales, and my middle name is Joy. So Brittany Joy Bubblets is like the
Oh my
happiest name.
gosh.
And I remember when I first started in sales, somebody asked me, "Is that really your name?" Like I made it up.
Wow.
I was like, "No, that's
Yeah.
really, really my name. It's a great sales name, isn't
It's sort of
it?"
like Smiley, right?
Yes,
Like, it just suits
yeah,
him so perfectly. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Are there any like specific techniques that you use or have used over the year, like in terms of bringing humor into your work or anything like that?
Yeah, here's one example that I thought actually was really good was it was my out of office. And I think you can do a lot with your out of office. So I think it was like there's a huge lottery. It was like millions of dollars. And I think my out of office was thank you so much for your email. I will be back tomorrow as I did not win the huge lottery that was played today, unfortunately. So, something like that. And I got more people like, oh my God, that was so funny. Like replying to my out of office.
I love
So,
that.
and I've seen some good ones too that I've kind of taken notes of where I like reply to their out of office where I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny or that's so great, that they're keeping it
Yeah.
light in those situations. So,
I love that. Just little, like, I'm always PSing people. I'm like,
yeah,
PS, and I'll just
yes.
make a joke, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Just add something
Yeah.
funny they're not expecting at the bottom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And all those little techniques where we can bring humor into our lives. Like, it doesn't have to be the next big joke or punchline. It can be something as simple as that, or putting, the name on something. We always name all our cars,
Oh,
and
I love that.
my parents always did too. My dad had like this French car, and I always called it Pierre le Spectaculaire, and just like all
Yeah,
these. And it's it's really, there are many ways to bring humor, and especially as a leader, and you
yeah.
never want to punch down, you always want to punch up. So as a leader, it's, self-deprecating and all that, making fun of ourselves is always so important.
Opens up the opportunity for other people to feel comfortable. So, like, if
Yeah.
you set the tone as a leader that either I'm going to make fun of my own self a little bit or be light about things, I think that gives people permission to do the same. And what is a leader? You're leading people. So, leading people to know that it's okay to be funny and have fun. If you set that tone, and if you don't do it, then they're going to have the tone of like, okay, we can't have fun around here. We can't joke around. I mean, so I really do think as a leader, we do set the tone in that.
I love that. And in setting the tone also for people to come with you with a problem and knowing it's okay.
Absolutely.
Do you think humor really enhances your collaboration with people?
I do. I think what it does is it breaks down barriers and walls. And so that, if you can throw an idea out there that's so terrible and then laugh at it, then someone else isn't scared to throw an idea out there too. Right. And talk about it and be open. And when you open yourself in your mind, knowing that it's okay, more ideas, better ideas come, the creativity comes. So I think that's so, so important.
That is so perfect. I love that because I really do believe that too. When we don't take ourselves so seriously, we really can be more playful and innovative and creative and all those things that really leads to better work. And especially within this industry, because so many conferences are so serious, and
Yeah.
as you said off the top, people have been through serious things. And that's why I
Yeah.
think it's so important for conferences to have like maybe one speaker who's, a bit funny or bit lighthearted, a bit more entertaining to bring sort of that energy where people can sort of release attention.
And it's great, like, especially after lunch when I think you're tired and all that stuff. I think having a speaker like that, or
Yes.
even just ending the day, I mean, on a high note where you laugh and you just leave feeling so, so good.
Yeah, and do you find, like, in terms of, like, technology, because it's changing so fast, like, I
Right.
remember looking at 9-volt battery and thinking
Oh,
that was science.
yeah. You got the little spark on your tongue.
Yes,
You got
yes,
your so living
exactly.
on the
Yeah,
edge with the
yeah,
battery. Yeah, I
yeah,
I
yeah.
do remember that too.
And now, and now people are more afraid of AI. I'm like, we used to bob for apples,
I
I mean,
know.
it
Yes.
was way
Yes.
more dangerous. Come on.
Totally.
There's,
Totally.
yeah, like there's, and do you use humor when you're with your kids a lot? Are they funny?
Oh my gosh, my son especially is hilarious. I can't remember the other day, it was his birthday and his middle name's Nicholas. And he told me, well, I don't like that name because it sounds really old. I was like, well, you're named after your grandpa. Like his name was Nicholas. He's like, I just call me John. So like for his birthday, we sang happy birthday to John. I mean, just like randomly. And he's such a light kid too. Like he takes certain things seriously, but sometimes he just cracks you up. You just don't know what's coming out of his mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
How
I try
old
and
is
stay
he?
light. He just turned 10.
Oh, double
John
digits.
John just turned
John.
10. Although his real name is Hudson. Hudson just turned 10.
Oh, that is
So,
so funny.
yeah. And they know like I try and like, I'll kind of make fun of them a little bit. They can make fun of me a little bit in certain things. And I think that's just fun of like the banter of it all is to have that fun
Yeah.
relationship and laugh. So
And the fact that you're working from home and being able to be with your kids when, they need you and
yeah.
also run this incredible agency that affects so many people's lives in so many ways. Like it really has an impact on so many
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
And all over the country. Like it's not
Yeah.
just like really. And do you find that when I say do you find a lot. I'm learning to interview.
Isn't that funny? I was watching an interview with Taylor Swift, and she had a whole montage about how she says
Yeah.
something like that, where it was like she kept saying the same things. I was like, I can't imagine being on podcasts all the time, and you really start realizing, oh, I say that every time.
I'm like, "Oh, that's really interesting." Anyway,
I
I'm just
know.
just judging myself as we go. It
Yes,
doesn't matter.
that's right. Yeah. So you can laugh
Uh,
at yourself.
oh my god, it's all and yes, I absolutely can. And I do find like there's an appropriateness like it's for me it's just all about I don't want to offend, and it's really taking that middle line, but at the same time, really bringing all those like just the health benefits that come with humor as you were saying earlier and not
Yeah,
compromising on that. And there's
totally.
always have you had any clients come back with you going, being upset about a speaker or anything like that for like
Oh,
humor in that way?
um, it's been a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like humor is hard these days because I feel like so many people do get offended, and
Yeah.
people want to be funny, and it's like how there's a fine line between being funny and offending people. So my heart does go out to humorists and comedians because I think intent is always pure for the most part.
Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
it is a hard thing. And so hopefully, people are understanding that if they are offended, you can talk to us about it and we'll hear you and listen. But I hope people are more understanding that, you know, intent is
Yeah.
always usually very good. So
No, humor is definitely. And do you find like the collaboration between meeting planners and clients now? Is there like humor within that industry, do you find?
yeah, I mean, like when the speaker and the meeting planners get
Yeah.
to connect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the funnier you can be, the better. And the
Yes.
more stories you have, the better. I mean, I do think, again, it should be fun when you're talking to a meeting planner and when the speaker gets to
Yeah.
finally meet that person. So, yeah, for
Do you
sure.
find humor really has a role within, like when you're dealing with the seriousness? Do you find it does relieve the tension when you're maybe dealing with a more serious topic?
I think it always can. I mean, even just thinking of like my husband and I, we've been married almost 19 years, and he makes me laugh. And there's so many times like we might be fighting, and like we just break it with humor, right? Either say one of
I
us says
love
something
that.
funny, or we poke at the person to get him to laugh. And I just think it's such a great tool, an important part of any relationship that you just can't
Yes.
take it yourself too seriously all the time.
Yeah, my husband and I have been together over 30 years now. Oh my
Oh
gosh,
wow,
I'm aging myself.
congrats!
And
That's amazing.
I
That's so
always
good.
joke, I'm like, he's no longer my soulmate, he's my cellmate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
We're
there you
like,
go. That's right. That's right.
ah.
You gotta have someone in your life that makes you laugh, especially being with them that long, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what it's all about. And you know what? Having a bit of levity in our lives and in terms of work, I think makes us braver, allows us to try new things and keep that open. And I
Yeah.
find that, so often we're just afraid we're going to lose our sense of importance. But I really think, how much confidence you're showing right now.
Yeah. I think it's so true. I think too, even like with your peers. So like Julie and I, obviously we own this together. Funny story. We were interviewing somebody, this was many years ago, in person. And I got up and I went to the bathroom and I had this huge black seed in my teeth from lunch, right? And it looked like, I mean, I was like, how did Julie let me continue this interview? Like, so I walk out and I'm like, how did you not tell me? And she's like, it was just so big I didn't know what to say. And so we had the best laugh. And then I emailed the gal we were interviewing and I was like, I just want to point out that the black thing in my mouth was a seed. And she goes, I thought you had a gap in your mouth. Like, and it was just so funny because yes, is it embarrassing? Absolutely is embarrassing. I had a huge black seed in my tooth. But like being able to like laugh with Julie, I always bring it up now, like at lunch, I'm like, anything in my teeth. I mean, and so I think I probably even emailed the entire team and let them know because that's just who I am, where I'm not, there's no shame in that. And I hope that breaks walls down of like,
Yeah.
it's okay. We all like mess up or get food in our teeth or, fall or whatever. And so
Yeah.
I just tried to break that
That
down a
just
bit.
happened. I was at lunch with another speaker and he had a huge seed in his teeth and I just didn't want to I didn't want to embarrass him, but then
But
he
when they
messaged me
leave,
afterward.
see, so it's like, okay, here's everyone listening. Here's the rule. If someone has something in your teeth, you have to think, if it was me, what I want to know, because then you're going to see
Yeah.
it. And then you're going to be
Yeah.
mad at that person because they
Yes.
sat
He was
there
mad at
and they
me.
lips it.
Oh.
Yes. They looked at that seed the entire time or the greens or whatever.
It almost ruined the relationship.
I
I was
know,
like,
right?
no.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Oh, sorry.
I
It
know,
just
right?
Yeah, it's the worst. Yeah.
It's
I
the
don't.
worst.
I was at the car wash the other day and I got in my car to drive away and I drove away with a guy in my car. 3 minutes
What?
later, some guy popped 3 minutes later, some guy
Wait,
popped
what?
up from the back seat.
What?
And I was like, no.
What?
Yeah.
Why? How? What?
I got it. I was at the car wash, the in and out, and I got in. They did a great job. I drove away and 3 minutes later, some guy from the back seat popped up, and I drove away with one of the guys cleaning my car. He had
Oh my
headphones on. I didn't realize it
oh,
was in the car.
that's hysterical.
And
Oh
my
my
husband's
god.
like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "I bought him a cheeseburger. I took him back to
I
work. I
mean,
didn't know. I didn't know
you were
what to
like
do."
kidnapping this poor boy.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, "You could have been charged with kidnapping." Exactly.
I had an old boss and she tried to get into the wrong car. Like, I think she
Oh.
literally like opened the door and sat in there and was like, "There's a guy in there," and she's like, "What are you doing in my car?" Like, just makes
That
you
is
laugh. It's
so
so
funny.
funny.
Do you find when you worked at the first speakers bureau or the last one that you worked at, did you find like the industry in terms of like, because you were working in person then,
Hmm. Yeah.
did they use a lot of humor within that environment?
Um, I'm trying to think back. I mean, I think the owner, she was really funny just in her own right.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a funny work environment. Like you could bring your dogs to work there. So you'd walk in and there'd
Oh,
just be dogs, just sitting, which I mean, anytime you see a dog, how can that not make you happy?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was an energy there and, we do lunches together. And so I do think there were kind of more interactions happening in the office and funny stories. I mean, I remember one of my first days there, it was a bunch of cubicles and I had like pointy boots on and the point of the boot got stuck in my cuff. And I remember going, and then I totally just fell. Like, I mean, I just bit it and I fell at the office, like looking up at this girl being like, "Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm new here." I mean, so embarrassing. But looking back now, you can laugh at stuff like that. Not funny for a second at the time, but it really was funny because I fell.
Slapstick's always good humor.
I mean, it always
A
is.
good banana peel doesn't matter. Just
Laughing
do
at
it.
other people's expense for my own. Yes.
Yeah, no, me too, me too. I'm so clumsy. I was that kid always. If someone was gonna break, it wasn't a party until until I broke something,
Yeah.
pretty much. It's like, all right,
Yes.
all right. Oh, I love this. Like your energy really is contagious.
Oh,
And
thanks.
and I think it makes people really be at ease when they feel like, they can. I feel like humor allows us to bring our authentic self to work.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, yeah, and you're just a living example of that, which I find
Well, thank you.
amazing.
I hope I
Yeah,
bring
like
people
it's
at
just
ease and they can again be themselves and again just to have a fun, great day. I tell my kids, have fun today, enjoy your day. And so I think lots of times we are like, oh, I have to get through today. Or you come in with that mentality of if I can only make it till 5, and so
yeah,
finding joy throughout your day, whether it be getting a coffee and having a laugh with somebody or, recapping a television show that was funny. Things that, I mean, I think it just helps, throughout your day.
yeah. There's so many sources for us to get in our laughs every day. Put on your
Exactly.
funniest video, cats falling, whatever it
Oh my
is.
gosh. Scroll the Instagram. That's right.
Scroll it, scroll it. Do you have any tips you could share with people who are, have their own businesses or are leaders in the C suite that you can sort of impart on them?
I think it really goes back to you don't like people are like, "Oh, Brittany, do you think you're funny?" I would say, I don't think I'm funny. Like I said, I think I'm light. And so frame it in your mind of how it works best for you. I think it's scary if I'm not funny every day, or, you don't have to be funny every day. But I think if you can laugh at yourself, if you can just have that openness for others to, feel comfortable sharing things with you or having a laugh with you, I just think they're going to work harder for you. They're going to like to be there, and people are like to be at work, they perform better. And so I just think it all kind of ties together. And so many times people are like, oh, I need to give them more money or I need to give them this or that. And sometimes it's just happiness. It's that good feeling. And it doesn't have to be something that you go buy them. It can just be something as simple as them enjoying what they do because you, as a leader, make it enjoyable for them.
I love that. You are wise beyond your years, young lady. No, that is so beautiful. And that's why people stay, because they do feel those things and they feel appreciated and valued. And
Yeah.
I think that was just so beautifully put and so perfect. Honestly,
Oh,
I want to come work there now.
thanks. booking you and having our own little laughs
I
together.
love that. Okay, so finally, you've told me so many funny stories today. I can't imagine even how we're going to end this because I usually end it at what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? And
Oh
I'm
my
just like,
gosh. I
yes.
know. Well, I mean, there's, and it's like, has it happened to me? Because I'm like, I've fallen
Or
down.
anything. Yeah.
One of my funniest like work stories now is I had this client, her name was Ryan, but it was spelled Ryane. And in this business, I feel like there's so many names we have to know because like we're in speaking and there's people. And I literally called her Rain. And I called her Rain the entire conference call. And she's like, my name's Ryan. I kept calling her Rain. I don't know where the rain came from. And it's one of those, like, I got off the call and I think I called her the wrong name for like a week or something. And then when you realize what you've done and you're like, oh my God, like this is
Yeah.
so embarrassing. I called her the
But
wrong
it's a
name.
great SNL sketch right there.
It's
That
like
is so
brain.
funny.
Again,
It's
the E is silent, Brittany. The E is silent. But again, just laughing at yourself and then maybe typing up a funny email to that person and being like,
yeah.
so, I mean, and just I think being able to call yourself out and have that levity, like people usually don't get mad at that. I
Oh
think
my gosh.
humor is human. So, yeah.
Yes, humor is human. I had once had a friend, she was in a car accident, but she rolled her car going around this bend and she was in shock, right? And the police came and all the emergency response and she was fine, but all she could come she was in shock and all that came out of her mouth for the next 3 hours was mother. They're like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Mother." "What's your address?" "Mother, mother, mother, mother." Like
So true.
literally, it's all she could say. So it's so
I
funny.
know.
Still kills
Um,
me. Yeah, you are just honestly an inspiration, and I love how you lead your life and lead your team. And I think it's really
thanks.
magical. And thank you so much for being on Humor in the C-Suite.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks so much for having me. Thanks for
Yeah.
all the laughs.